adding up.
Damn this freaking bottle.
Every day is a new battle, trying to keep our ass in the saddle.
Got it.
Now they're out and
Hey, welcome to the Three Rural White Guys podcast. My name is Mike Heaton, your co-host, here with Jacob Dodds. Hey, Jacob.
Mike's trying to kill me with bottle caps.
Dude, check this out. I got this this can opener here. And by the way, Kellen Gracie's in the house as well. Hey, Kellen.
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, check out this can opener. I've been using this. It's a little pocket blade, right? You got to put me back on so that people can see. There you go. It's a pocket knife kind of blade thing, and it has a bottle opener on it.
Nice.
I've been using this since we started our podcast to open bottles. There's nothing left on it.
It's a nubber.
I can't even open the bottle. I have to like rip it upward to go, and I'm sort of proud of that.
Is that a commentary on the podcast?
Oh, it's a commentary. I drink too much beer. That's the problem, and I blame you too. Just so you know.
Yes.
Hey, we are the Three Rural White Guys podcast. We drink beer in our garage and talk politics, especially rural politics. And I just got to say, Kellen Gracie here is in the house tonight, and he's sort of our guru on data when it comes to elections. He has a PhD in American politics, so I mean, he kind of makes sense. But he has been geeking out like all day. We have received 10,000 texts based on the data he's pulling in from the elections last night in the primaries. And what'd you get here? Like at 5 tonight? We're 6 o'clock.
Six. Yeah,
we're airing. What time is it right now? Like 10 o'clock p.m.
Yeah, I think I'm in trouble with my wife.
You might be.
Watching
Yeah, you've been here for a while. As we were supposed to get here at 9, and I think we were being text started at 8 o'clock. Where the hell are you guys? I'm ready to go. Ready to go. He is pumped. We got a hell of a show for you tonight. If you're watching it tomorrow, awesome. But this is going to be a really cool episode, especially if you're a little bit of a poli-sci geek. Is there a word for that?
A political scientist.
But is there like a derogatory word for people that geek out too much about politics?
Pundits?
Pundits?
I don't know. Well, those are like the talking heads.
Yeah,
pundits, right? Those are the talking heads on shows and whatnot.
I was going to say it's a Kellen. He Kellen tonight. He pulled a Kellen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is like it's not really my Super Bowl. It's more like a playoff game. You know,
the primary versus a general.
Yeah, the Super Bowl is kind of the general election, right? Particularly in presidential years, but a primary is kind of like a playoff game. And a midterm, I would even say, is a little bit of a playoff game. More than a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Is this an end of season kind of thing, or is this like game 12?
No, this is like wild card game.
Wild card.
This is a wild card game.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, I like that.
So, for me, why this is important is, well, especially if you live in a red county, anywhere in America, I think this is a really important episode. I think what happened in Iowa last night really, really matters. And that primarily is because Democrats showed up at a rate that they're really not supposed to. And I want to caveat that a little bit, put a little nuance on that by saying we're not going to talk tonight about how this means Iowa's blue. I don't think this is necessarily indicative that we can expect every race in Iowa to go for the Democrats. But what matters here is rural Democrats.
Spoken like a true poli-sci nut, just so you know. Well, yeah. You're never going to claim anything. Yeah, freaking Nate Silver.
Exactly. Yeah. I was just about to say. I left the prediction business a long time ago, right? Trying to predict what happens. So I couch everything in probabilities and likelihoods and potentialities, if that's not a word, maybe, I don't know. But so I don't think what we're going to talk about tonight is all of the data that we see suggests that Iowa's about to turn blue. That's not what we're going to say. But I think what the huge signal that we got from the midterms last night is that rural Democrats are done pretending they're alone. And I don't know. Have you guys seen these blue dot signs? You guys seen any?
I got one in my yard.
You have one in your yard? What does that mean to you to have one of those blue dots in your sign?
It's a sign of solidarity. So other Democrats that see it, they're driving by, they know they're not alone. That's the whole point. To say you're not alone. There's other people out here. We've been stuck. It feels like we're alone. We're a blue dot in the sea of red, and especially after the last couple cycles in Iowa. And you're not alone, people. We're all out here. You can keep looking. You see your blue dot. You have a little more comfort. Yeah, that's how I look at it.
Yeah. So ultimately, I think what's going on here isn't necessarily that Iowa's about to up and down the ballot. We're going to run the table. That's not what we're going to say. But what happened last night is historic. So I went back through 44 years of off-year primary election data
So
midterm primaries, so non-presidential years, right? This is 2026 non-presidential years. So last one would have been 2022. One before that would have been 2018, so on and so forth, right? Every prior 4 years. Because I looked at the data last night, and, well, really more this morning. And, well, I guess it really started in the comments section on social media, as so many great ideas do, right? But I saw a lot of consternation, a lot of Democrats who were upset that turnout wasn't higher. And I'm looking at the numbers, and in Henry County, we had, I had the actual number written down.
38%, what you said.
Well, you're giving away the cow there, Jacob. Little fast.
It's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. 38%. Go ahead.
But the number that was reported, total votes in Henry County was 700 and some, right? 792 or something like that, total votes cast. And then there were 1,600 or some Republicans, right? So then we had a local.
So wait, the total Dem votes cast.
Right.
1,600 total R votes cast.
Right. Correct. Right.
It's a primary, so it has to be a party affiliation.
Right. So if you add those two together, and then you take the percentages, it looks like, well, there were way more Republicans that showed up than Democrats. So it was 61 or 69
to 31.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we're getting at that.
Yeah. We even had a local news outlet report it that way, right? Say 61 versus 39%.
69 versus 31.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, lots of numbers.
All good.
But if you dig deeper, and you look at the numbers relative to the party registrations, which is how you calculate turnout, the overall turnout in terms of the total number of registered voters in our county was something like 17 or 18%, right? Because you have independents that are in there too. But what ended up happening in our county was you had 38% turnout. So that 792 represents 38% of all Democrats in Henry County. That 1,600 number for Republicans represents 32% of all Republicans in Henry County. So
Republicans had a 32%
turnout rate.
Democrats had a 38%
correct
turnout rate.
Correct.
How does that compare to, like, you went and compared across years too?
So I said, well, those numbers are pretty big for both parties, actually. So
okay.
38% was pretty big. I said, wow. And I looked at 32% for Republicans. I said, wow. Normally, nationwide, historically speaking, in an off-year, non-presidential midterm primary year like we're in right now, average national turnout is around 20%. So to have a 32% turnout for Republicans is pretty big. To have a 38% turnout for Democrats is phenomenal, right? So then I started thinking, what does this look like statewide, right? And I saw statewide a similar pattern, about a 38% turnout relative to, and I went to the Secretary of State website. They don't have the actual turnout report like they normally do. It will probably take them a couple weeks to actually certify everything and get it all official and posted. So the proxy I used was just the number of ballots cast in the Democratic U.S. Senate race. So the number of people who voted for Turek plus the number of people who voted for Walz.
Okay.
Then I looked at
assuming the vast majority of people voted for one of those candidates and didn't leave it blank.
Right. There are going to be undervotes.
Sure.
Yeah, there will be people who cast a Democrat ballot but didn't vote in the Senate race, right? So this number is actually, the turnout number is actually going to be higher than what I calculated. Yeah.
And at some point, Jacob, jump in because we're getting geeky here and people might just turn off our podcast because we got lost. But keep going, Kellen, keep going.
So then I went to the Secretary of State's website and I said, okay, what was the most recent number of registered Democrats that I could find, which was like 500,432. Right?
Okay.
In June, this was like two days ago, the Secretary of State updated with June numbers. So that's a 38% turnout. Then I said, wow, that number's really big in Henry County. That number's really big in the state of Iowa. What does that look like over time?
Right.
And I found that this was the best turnout for Democrats in an off-year, non-presidential midterm primary year ever. I can't find data prior to 1982 because they don't have voter registration number easily accessible. I might be able to dig if I went to Des Moines, right, and dug into some state records and whatnot, I could
Dude,
probably.
we need like, I want to see this. Do we have like graphs or anything to look at?
You know
Did you make
what?
a graph?
Look
Oh
at
shit! Look at you really did. You really did make a. Of course you did. Jesus Christ! Look at this thing. Okay.
So these are data from the Iowa Secretary of State. Okay. And the middle column for both Democrats and Republicans, deactive voters used, are active voters used. Those are voter registration data from just prior to the primary, the month prior to when the primary occurred. Okay. So in 2026, the top line there, you had 191,834 votes cast in the Senate race between Josh Turek and Zach Walz. The Secretary of State tells us that there were 500,432 active registered Democrats for a turnout of roughly 38%. I don't know why I rounded that number and not the other ones, but I was not Russian. I was rushing to get.
We got you. We got you, comrade. Yeah.
So, and then statewide, again, decent turnout numbers for Republicans, but 30.48% statewide, 211. And the number I used here was a number cast in the gubernatorial race because that was a contested race statewide for the Republicans.
Okay.
So there was a lot of undervoting going on in the Hinson-Carlin U.S. Senate race, which would have resulted in a lower turnout. So I actually used the higher number from the GOP gubernatorial race, assuming that Republicans were casting ballots in that race because that was the one they were more interested in.
So I'm looking at just the top two lines there, because I'm kind of interested in the recent history aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I'll say 2014. I think it's very interesting that you see an almost 100,000 decline from 2014 to 2026 in active Democratic voters and an almost roughly equivalent increase in Republican voters.
That's funny because you happened to walk in while Mike and I were arguing
about this exact thing and why it existed.
Before we get into that though, I just want to put a pin or put an exclamation point on the historical part of this.
Yeah.
So if you look at the 38% in 2026 in the D turnout column, and you look all the way down that column, we are going through 44 years, more than 4 decades. And the reason it doesn't extend beyond 1982 is simply because I couldn't find data.
Because they tracked it differently or whatever.
They tracked it differently, or they reported it differently, or it's not digitized, right? It's sitting in an archive in Des Moines, and I'm sitting here in Mount Pleasant, right?
Right.
And the last time Democrats got anywhere near this close was in 1982. And Mike, maybe you can expound on this in a little bit, not right now, but
I don't remember 1982. I was only 4.
Well,
I know you think I was like a teenager or at least, but I was only 4 years old, Kellen.
You did make a comment though on a thread that we were on earlier about Branstad and that race in particular. So I think we should talk about that. But that was the last time Democrats had this kind of turnout in an off-year midterm primary, a non-presidential primary. In 1982, there wasn't a presidential election that year, and they had 36.5%. So this is the highest turnout in at least 44 years, probably longer, almost certainly longer, several decades. This is the highest. So that tells you something about Democrat enthusiasm among registered party members, okay?
Right.
Now, we can dive into the fact that there are 500,000 registered Democrats and 694,000 registered Republicans in 2020. So that's almost 200,000 gap, right? We can talk about strategy over whether we need to focus on registering more Democrats or we need to go get those independents and soft Republicans, right? That's a whole other conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the R side, R turnout, far right column, 30.48% last night. In the last midterm election, 2022, this is the Biden midterm, 30.26%. Okay, so they're roughly as excited today as they were in 2022. But you look down the column, the last time they were more excited than this, the enthusiasm on the Republican side was greater, was 2010, right? And we all know what happened that year. That was the Tea Party revolution, bloodbath for Democrats, and the Republicans had a huge victory. You had 2002, that was rally around the flag. 9/11 had just happened. A lot of people were supporting George Bush. You can see that same year, 17.76%, awful turnout for Democrats in 2002. You can see in 94, this is Clinton's midterm. 54% turnout for Republicans.
That was when Newt Gingrich.
That was Newt Gingrich's contract with America.
Yep. Neocons.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you can track this, and you can see, and you can start putting, like, humans are really good at pattern recognition, right? You can start putting patterns together around these dates, around these years, around these huge turnout bubbles for these different parties, and you can start thinking about, okay, well, what does this 38% mean? Iowa Democrats have never hit 38%, as far as I can tell.
As far as we know,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Definitely not in the last 44 years.
So before we take this off the screen,
Yeah.
It is important to note that voter enthusiasm not only is about how engaged and energetic we are about an upcoming election or how much mad we are at a current president, things like that. It also matters who's on the ballot,
Absolutely.
right? And so it's a blatant example of this was just 2 years ago for a presidential election, and a total in Henry County of 83 people came out and voted in the primary, like, because they didn't give a crap. Our caucus system was messed up. We didn't really have, there was no presidential ticket person in the primary. There was literally no one running against anybody else. So there was no like contested races that were getting anybody riled up. And so they just didn't come out. There was no reason to really go out and vote. And so people didn't. So some of those lower numbers on there don't necessarily reflect lack of enthusiasm. They do. They reflect lack of enthusiasm because there's not lack of willingness to engage in politics in the general per se, but they sucked. There was no point in going to vote at all because there was no contested tickets on our primary, on our ballot. And it just wasn't worth going to vote on, right, kind of thing. So that does play a role in some of these numbers as they dive really low to 10% and up. But at the same time, those higher ones where there are contested, you can go through and see that was a contested race, that was a contested race. 38% is high, period. And we didn't even have a contested race at the top of the ticket.
Right.
Rob Sand in Iowa, he's by himself. That usually will drive people. And on the Republican side, they had a massively contested race at the top of the ticket, and actually an outsider won, and we'll get into that later. So you would think that number would be even higher because that should be a reason for people to come out and vote. There were six candidates. How many people were on that Republican side?
In
for Republican governor?
Gubernatorial, 6 this year. Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, just crazy numbers. So that should drive the vote, and that number should be higher naturally. So it's artificially high just because of that at 30 in my mind.
Yeah.
We're sitting at 38 without a contested race on top. And in our district in Henry County, we had a Senate race, which was really tight, but it wasn't all that vehement. Like both candidates were good.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we had a House race that was an also ran. I mean, she won by like 80%. It didn't drive voter turnout, kind of a contested race in the congressional House. So like we didn't have that crazy of a ballot to drive tone. This is very much in my mind, energetic Democrats who are fed up with the status quo that are ready to go to bat in the fall. Is that your take?
So I guess this would be my question for Kellen here is, as I sort of interject my everyman take on this, is obviously I follow both sides on this. I've followed both sides throughout this process and tried to understand some of the logic, and there's similarities. There's similarities between the Democrats and Republicans. You had a contingent within the Democratic Party that wanted what they've been doing the last few years is finding basically quite frankly the weakest candidate because they applied this litmus test of how progressive are you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
The Terrell campaign
It's a great example.
of that.
I call them purity tests.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
But we had the same thing on the Republican side as well. There was the quote unquote, at least here in Iowa, they call it the grassroots conservative movement, whatever the hell that means.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people that push Zach Lahn over the top.
Right.
Right. So it actually worked with the Republicans.
But I think it's interesting when you look at like Henson's race. They hate Henson. They hate Miller Meeks. They hate they hate anybody who's an incumbent.
You're talking specifically about the like let's call them the far right or the ultra mega.
But here's the thing: not the Christian nationalists. They had Steen. They had other people. We're talking about the racist, sexist motherfuckers
these are the,
who just
these are
love
the
Trump.
hardcore. These are the hardcore, no compromise.
Yeah,
They don't want people in office that will compromise with Democrats.
right.
That's why they hate Henson and Miller Meeks, because they passed bipartisan legislation.
Probably also because they're women, but these people tend to be really sexist as hell.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But so I guess what I'm getting at, coming back to my sort of everyman take on this, is when we look at how these races turned out. We had the ultra left that was big fans of Terrell. He got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even close.
I thought it would be closer, honestly.
And on the right side, both Miller Meeks and Henson, that wasn't even close either.
Right.
The establishment candidates weren't even close, but yet you had Lane as the outlier, which we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
But
which is, I'm so excited to talk about that one. This is going to be.
But I mean, how do you explain that when you look at the motivators of what are pushing people out to vote? Now that the ultra left is pissed off today because Terrell didn't get the nod, and the far right's pissed off because their candidates, the incumbents, when they're how many of these voters do you think will break off?
I think we started this episode by me saying I was exiting the prediction business.
And this is a fun one to do because we're going to get some people on our posts on our.
I'm not asking you to make a prediction, but
yeah.
based on sort of historical context and things like that. I mean, how many of these people that were motivated to come out and vote in the primaries for those reasons will likely either not vote in the general election or will like refuse to vote for the candidate that got the nod that they don't like?
Will we get Bernie Brode in 2026?
Yes,
10 years later, will we get Bernie Brode?
Yeah. No, we won't.
And why not, Kellen? Why not?
As far as the Democratic side is concerned, those margins were gigantic.
Yeah.
It was 81 to 19%.
Yeah, this isn't Bernie versus Hillary.
Right.
This is
right.
Also Rand versus Bohannon.
Do you think that might happen on the right?
The Feenster folks and the Steen folks, Sherman folks will say, F this, we're done?
I mean, I don't think they'll do that for governor. I mean, I think they'll rally behind it for governor, but like
True.
I think it's relevant when you look at Bohannon against Miller Meeks. I mean, the last election was what, 864 votes between them?
I have two things I'd like to say here. One, there's a kind of common saying in politics, not political science, just politics, that Democrats have to fall in love and Republicans just fall in line. Right. And I think we've seen that over and over again throughout history. We saw that in 2016. You guys are alluding to that when you're saying, are we going to get Bernie Brode? Because there's a significant chunk of the Democratic base that they have a threshold. And if you don't hit that threshold, 95% agreement on issues, they're not even going to show up to vote. Forget like holding their nose and voting. They won't do it.
Yeah, well, they spent the last 6 months bashing the leading candidate.
Okay, but what I'll say to that is following some of the social media stuff from the far right here in Iowa and looking at their comments sections.
Yeah. So
they have a threshold.
There's indication of that.
So
good point.
And that's in the data. So the second thing I'll say, and shout out to Carrie from Mount Pleasant.
Carrie from Mount Pleasant.
Long time listener, first time commenter. She pointed out to me today that there were significant undervotes for Shipley, for
Shipley's an Iowa House candidate in Henry County.
Yeah, Iowa State Legislature candidate for District 87. Yeah. Significant undervotes. So of the 1,600 Republicans who showed up to cast a ballot, there were like 900 of them that voted for Shipley. He was a uncontested race, all right? So they could have just skipped over the bubble.
Right.
I'm sure many of them did.
Well, what I heard from one of the poll workers at one of the sites in Henry County, when they went to print everything out to get it, they print out all the write-ins separately for all the races, and she said it was like 10 pages long. the amount of write-ins. And
Jesus.
by the way, the vast majority of people were Republican voters in this particular precinct.
Yeah.
Because it was a rural precinct, and just tons of write-ins that had to
Right.
get printed out.
Right.
That's your undervote plus skipping the
Right.
bubble.
Right. There's people who didn't want to fill in the bubble, and they're like, it doesn't matter because nobody's
Yeah.
running against them.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So
I know that the county. I mean, this is kind of irrelevant to anybody outside of Henry County, but the county attorney situation continues to be very dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was that post.
Oh, which by the way, this is relevant as well. Kellen, I wrote you in as county treasurer, and Jacob, I wrote you in as county auditor. So just be ready, because
Sweet.
if
Nice.
somebody else did, that would give you a 2-to-1 vote probably.
I
And there's
know.
a chance
You know
you
what?
might be on.
I know some people that probably love me to be the county auditor.
I would
Yeah.
love you to be the.
That'd be
county
awesome.
auditor. That'd be great.
You never know. You may get automatically nominated on the. If anyone else, I should have coordinated with Kellen, and we could have had 2. And I don't think people double down. So like you totally could have been nominated.
Yeah,
That'd have been awesome. Kellen, we sort of screwed that up.
we did. We should have coordinated.
Next time.
Yes.
Continue. Sorry.
But all I was saying, my second point was there were significant undervotes in a way that there weren't undervotes on the Democrat side.
Yeah.
And then our county auditor was kind of reporting things a little funky and wasn't pushing out.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I don't know. But there were Democrats who were running unopposed who didn't have that kind of undervoting going on. And there were a lot of undervoting. There was a lot of undervoting going on. But what I'm trying to get at, Jacob, is your question. How many of those will fall off, right? I don't know. But I do know that there were a lot of Republicans who were holding their nose and voting for people this cycle in this primary. And there were a lot of people who showed up because they were really interested in 1 or 2 or 3 races and didn't give a shit about the other ones.
Right.
Well, I think the most telling thing as it relates to sort of the collapse of the Republican Party, which I think we're seeing.
I think we
real
are.
Time,
We are.
is the Trump endorsed candidate for governor didn't win.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the
current U.S. House representative, Trump endorsed candidate.
who the grassroots Republicans hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He lost.
I mean, he lost. Granted, it wasn't like by a huge margin, but still, I mean, he lost.
Yep.
And lost by a guy who really nobody fucking knows.
Right.
Right.
At all. We'll get to him in a bit. We keep hinting at Lawn, whatever the hell his name
Lane.
is.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? But keep going, Kyle. I want to get to this data stuff because this is really key, and then we're going to jump into like the Brawndo-esque situation we have.
Well, do you want to go back to the table? Because I think the only other big thing I wanted to point out was actually I wanted to call on your comment about the 1982 race, because that particular primary, if you look at the bottom of the table, dear listener at home, the bottom, or if you're just listening and not watching on video, the bottom of the table shows the only other time in the last 44 years that Democrats came even close to the 38% turnout this cycle was in 1982 when they got 36.5%. That was a very peculiar race. And you and I were in a text thread with some people earlier today, and you mentioned something very particular. You mentioned something about that race that really resonated with me. And I'll point out as well that in 1982, when Democrats had the 36.5% turnout in the off-year primary, we had 537,182 active registered Democrat voters versus 496,218. So Democrats had the registration advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep all of that in context with today, where there are 500,432 active Democratic voters registered and 694,000. So almost a 200,000 voter difference today versus 1982. But nonetheless, what were you telling me earlier about the 1982 Iowa election that might be relevant here?
So the top of the ticket was an incumbent, which was Governor Branstad. And if that name sounds familiar, he came back again and ran and took multiple terms in recent history.
That's how we ended up
with
Kim Reynolds.
Yeah, that's how we ended. Exactly. He sort of appointed her governor and we got stuck.
So it's kind of like Jerry Brown in California. Right?
Yeah.
Came back a few years.
No, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there, Kellen. We're not going to go there. But yes, but he was governor for a long time, also in the 80s, right? And he was an incumbent, and he won that race barely compared to what people thought he was going to do. But across the board, under those seats, across the board in Iowa, the congressional seats, in the House seats, in the Senate seats, in the state House, and even at local races, it was a freaking bloodbath for Republicans. Democrats swept all over the place, took seats they hadn't taken in years, took over control of the Iowa House, I believe, that year, and they hadn't been in a long time. I may not have it. I looked it up a long time ago, a while back, so I can't quite remember all the details. But they took massive gains that year in down ticket races, and took good gains against Branstad, who was the incumbent and pretty well liked governor across the board. So that top of ticket, yeah, he won, but he didn't win the way he should have won as an incumbent governor. And then down ticket, it was a bloodbath for Republicans. Democrats just dominated in ways no one expected.
Well, I also think that just off the top of my head, from a history perspective, that was halfway through Reagan's first term. The whole Morning in America thing. And I've heard enough about the early 80s here in Iowa. I mean, that was when the farm crisis was in full swing.
Yep.
Interest rates on a mortgage were north of 20%. So there's similarities to what we have going on today.
Gas prices, cost of living, fertilizer costs.
I'm gonna invoke James Carville. I mean, he famously said in 1992, "It's the economy, stupid." And I really think that that's the driver of what we're seeing with this right now, is what's going on with the economy.
Fair.
Trump promised on day one that we would have lower prices on everything, and everything's gone through the roof. And I think most people are seeing through that. And I think that's what's really driving this.
The night of the election in November, last November, I guess it was, which I honestly don't remember a whole lot about now because I think I drank myself into oblivion that night. It was so
2024
depressing.
election.
2024. So it's 2024. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
This is all a haze.
It's a
all
haze.
a haze.
But prior to making my way over to Kellen's house to watch the results,
Yes.
I stopped by and grabbed some beer at the local gas station. Right?
Smart choice.
Yeah. Maybe not so much that night, but there's a teenager who just graduated high school, and he said, "Hey, did you see some of the results coming in?" And I talk to him whenever I go in there. He's nice. It's Iowa rural. We talk to people. People just get over it. And so I had a conversation with him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm really excited. I voted in my very first election." I'm like, "Hey, good for you, man. That's awesome. Congratulations. You know, how did you want to share what you voted for? You don't have to if you don't want." He's like, "No, I voted for Trump." And that's the moment I knew Trump was going to win.
In trouble.
Yeah. And I said, "Oh, really? Why?" I was being nice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, because really, I'm getting out into the workforce and I need a job." And he's really big on the economy. And that's what he said, point blank. And we know better. We know what he is he's a grifter, and he's going to get money for his friends. And the stock market's going to go up, but everyday Americans are going to get shit. And we knew that going in, but he didn't. And he drank the Kool-Aid about the economy. And it worked, and it's come. It's a midterm election. There wasn't a midterm election. It was going against a current sitting president who had struggled with the economy because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, you're absolutely right. An 18-year-old who never voted before, seemed like he had a level head, wasn't some diehard Republican who had Republican parents, chose Trump because of the economy, because he had the better message around the economy in 2024.
Yeah,
because the outsider always does, by the way, and whenever the economy's tough.
Well, I just wanted to toss up this picture. Oh, two pictures. This is Terry Branstad's official portrait in 2017. So he was governor of Iowa until 2020, when I believe 2020 was the year he got tapped as China.
No, it was 2018.
2018. Okay, so this was right before he
Actually, I think it was in 2017.
Okay.
Because I think that Reynolds actually had to run and
Oh,
get elected. in 2018.
Reynolds.
Yeah.
That's right. So this was his last official portrait as governor. This is the 1982 photo.
He came back again.
He's like Robert D. Ray. Like, I mean, everybody in Iowa knows who that guy is.
Yeah.
But nobody remembers Chet Culver.
Right.
I always forget that he ran.
Yeah.
He was a governor.
Everybody
because we had
does.
Vilsack for so many years.
And
Then
if I
there was a
remember
Chet
right,
Culver era.
Didn't he do 2 terms?
I thought it was only one. Was it 2?
I thought he was in from 2000 to 2008.
I thought he was. No, he wasn't. Vilsack was still there. I worked with Vilsack and lobbied.
Then he
Vilsack.
just did one term, I think.
Yeah, I think he was 2010, so 2006 to 2010.
He was, he won election. He won
In
election
06.
in 06, but he served 07 to 2011.
Yeah, and I believe he lost.
See, I can't even remember when he was actually governor.
Yeah, he lost to Branstad, I believe, in 10.
That's right.
Yeah.
He lost to
You're
Branstad. Yeah.
They had to pull someone out of the depths of history to come back to try to take out the Democrat governor at that point, because they had a 12-year run, I think, or close to that.
Oh no, Jacob, you're right. He is in Terry Branstad. He assumed office as U.S. ambassador to China July 2017.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And appointed Reynolds as his successor.
Right.
Because I remember she came through here. I walked into Hy-Vee to get groceries, and she had a RV that she was traveling around the state in 2018 for re-election, and she came through then.
Ooh, hitting the liquor store.
Well,
Hey.
she was seeing all of her old friends.
She used to work
lived
at
here
that
for a
Hy-Vee
while.
pharmacy. I'm
Yeah,
just saying. She's from Mount Pleasant. She lived in Mount Pleasant for a while. All right, so let's stay on track here on that front.
Yeah.
So we're seeing data that's similar to 1982, and we're seeing an election cycle that's not all that off from 1982. Post a very populist president that was controversial with trickle down economics and we had a recession happening, all this other shit happening as a result of all his policies. And Democrats are coming out in full force suddenly. I don't know what's going to happen on top of these tickets, but I see this as a great indicator for November. I think that's what we're hearing from you as a data scientist or as a political scientist. Is that correct? I know you don't want to make predictions, but should we be happy about this, Kellen?
I think so. I think there's no reason to be sad or worried.
Fucking Nate Silver answer. What the fuck?
Well, I think the other key thing though,
Give me
too,
hope.
look at the messaging that the Democratic candidates are putting out right now. I mean, they are definitely appealing to the moderates.
Well, such as, give us some examples.
Well, if you go to Rob Sand's Facebook page and you look at the video that he posted last night,
His T-shirt.
Yeah.
well, his T-shirt, yes, but I mean, he basically said he was appealing to the Republicans that are angry that their chosen governor candidate didn't win, and he's
Right.
like, "There's room for you in our tent."
And I think the broader takeaway from that, the broader point there, goes back to, I'm gonna pull this up again just because I made it, and I spent so much time on it today, and I spent a lot of time checking these numbers, so it's worth, but it is worth putting up. There is a 200,000 voter gap between Democrats and Republicans, right?
Right.
So that means that the Democratic Party has to either register a shit ton more Democrats. Well, I think they need to do that anyway. But that also means that in order to overcome that gap, because if Democrats turn out 80% of their base, they would lose to the Republicans if the Republicans only turned out 58%. We don't need to go through all the math.
Yeah,
and bore
and
people.
independents are a weird thing in between there. We got to
Right.
figure out. Yeah.
Right. But the way to think about that is, because that gap is so big, even if Democrats had a ridiculous turnout number in a midterm election, 80% turnout of your base is just obscene. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But even if they hit that 80% number, the Republicans could still win with only 58% turnout. So think about it that way. So that
assuming
means,
independents go 50-50.
right, assuming independents go 50-50. So that means, in that context, that you either need to register more Democrats or you need to get independents and soft Republicans on your side.
Right.
But I think I saw a number, and I might be wrong, Kellen, that there's 900,000 registered independents in Iowa.
So I don't know if it's 900,000. That seems
It's significantly
really big.
more than either Democrats or Republicans.
That seems really big, but I do believe that the number of independents is greater than both parties.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that standing out in my mind when I saw that, was that it's significantly higher.
Nationwide, the number of independents is like the nonpartisan identification is the fastest growing party ID in America right now.
So what I'm looking at right now, it's actually slightly below Republican. It's 732,000.
No,
For-
700 and
in
some
Iowa.
thousand would be above
I
Republicans.
was going
at
to say, it
694.
was definitely more.
This
than.
is saying 748 Republican.
Yeah. What
Total.
is?
Chat GPT. So this
Oh.
is a
So the
Don't-
June Secretary of State number is what's here in the top line.
694,000.
94,000 Republicans.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is saying early June 2026. Yeah, so I don't know why it says 732 for independent, no party. I don't know how
732.
accurate
Yeah,
that-
no, that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
bigger than Republicans, bigger than Democrats, and that 900,000 seems really big. But I know that it's bigger than both, so it would have to be bigger than 700,000 number of independents in Iowa.
Right.
But that tracks. That tracks with what's going on nationwide in terms of the trends. Independent people are fleeing the two-party system.
Right.
And
it was giving me active versus non-active.
yeah. So that's going to matter too.
But it's still saying that no party independence is lower than Republican. Active. It's saying there's 640,000.
Active, right.
Active independent voters,
Right.
640,000. Active Republican is 673. What you had
Yes,
up there.
right. Yep.
So it is slightly lower.
Yep.
But it's still it's bigger than Democrat, and it's a pretty high number.
Right.
And I think you can look at that list. Pull it back up. I want to see your list again. Show me your table.
It is nice.
Right?
It's kind of
So
sexy.
I'm just going to say this to all of our Democrat followers, and you just own it, okay? Because it's true, and you have to realize that this plays a factor in elections, okay? We're losers. You got it?
Yeah, we're losers.
Embrace it. That's not a depressing thing.
We've been losers for a while.
We've lost. And when you're a loser, people tend to shy away from you. They tend to, not register to be in your party.
This is where Ron comes in. Ron calls us losers all the time.
All the time. Thanks, Ron.
It's like all the people that I went to high school with in the 90s, late 90s.
Loser.
That wore Nebraska sweatshirts.
Right.
Shit.
Right. Yeah. So
You don't see that anymore.
But we are. But here, we are. And I'm looking at your table. We're losers. We've lost a lot of elections in a row. Okay. So when that happens, people naturally don't register to be part of your party. They tend to be independent, even though they agree with you more. Okay. And you look at our numbers here, and you can see right around when we started losing. Our peak was 2010. And then we started losing ground.
Right.
And then in 2016, we got our asses handed to us. We lost everything in the state of Iowa. And our numbers have continued to go down.
That's
Pretty
right.
dramatically. There was that
Purge
that happened with the new law
21.
in 21. There's all these different things that happened along the way, but ours went down. Sorry, ours went down, Democrat, and ours, Republican, went up, which happens whenever one side or the other is winning,
Right.
sadly, instead of people looking at the issues. So
Well, it's a social contagion
Yeah.
theory. We don't need
yeah,
to get into all
yeah, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is that a lot of those independents that just decided to leave the Democrat Party because they don't want to be associated with the losers in the room, right? They're still susceptible to vote Democrat.
Right.
They're very real Democrat voters out there.
They're ripe for the picking, Mike.
Yeah, and there's probably a higher percentage of them because we've had more people leave. And there's a reason they left, because they don't want to be associated with losers.
It's time to pull that Nebraska starter jacket out of the closet. and
That's
dust it
right.
off.
Embrace the loserness.
Embrace it.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
But I think what we're getting at here is a little bit of, well, do we want to? We could.
I just don't want to miss land. I want to talk about land before we get
Lane.
What? It's
Lane.
LAHN lawn.
It doesn't matter because he's a goddamn carpetbagger anyway. He
Yeah.
lives in Kansas and he's
Well,
whatever.
and like
Anyway,
Haley on our feed here. Haley, thanks for listening.
Hi, Haley.
Hey out there in Mount Pleasant.
Wait,
Haley from Mount Pleasant.
who is? Oh, Pizza Ranch Randy is Randy.
It's Feenstra.
It
yeah.
took me a minute.
That's where he
sorry.
took all his pictures at. Pizza Ranch. Randy. He'd
yeah.
show up at
I
Pizza
talked
Ranch.
about that one
Yeah.
night.
Did we?
Yeah.
How many PBRs had I had at that
And he's
point?
and he's tall. Don't forget that he's tall.
It's not a touchscreen, Kellen.
It appears that he is not taking Iowa to new heights.
Yes, no, he is not. No, he's not.
Now you can go back to Hull
And Pizza Ranch.
Yeah, so I want to make sure we hit on him, okay, before we end the show, because there's a whole nother topic, and we could talk
Do
about.
you want to do that now? Because
episodes.
I just want to toss this in because I think
let's go more data before that.
well I didn't want to go data. I
Where do you
wanted to
wanna
go
go?
theory.
Theory, okay.
And I think what we're talking about here is we could let's give it a name. Let's call it the belonging theory.
Oh sure.
Okay. Rural Democrats are tired of being invisible. And you asked earlier, Jacob, does this matter? Are we going to have people like jumping because of this? what impact does this 38% have? And I think it does have an impact. I think it does matter. And I don't think it matters to the point where we can stand here and say Iowa's going to flip blue, or Texas. Everyone thinks Texas is going to flip blue. I don't think that's what we're saying here. But I think this is a trend across the country when all of a sudden you see things like, I think it is really important that Pizza Ranch Randy was Trump's golden boy and lost, right? I think it really matters that Democrats are fired up and excited in Iowa for the first time in at least 44 years, probably longer. Right?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Texas because the funniest thing that I have seen over the last week is the attacks on Tallarico.
Oh, it's been great.
About him being
vegan and gay and trans and all the shit.
Like they ran out of shit.
Yeah, they ran out of shit.
None of that's true.
No, of course not. It's
I don't
not
know.
true.
I don't know. I haven't followed that.
No,
race. Yeah.
and so when the whole vegan thing, because he was eating a fucking turkey leg at a county fair or some shit,
Yeah, as Texan or anyone in
then
rural
they
areas
had
do.
to start making fun of the way he was holding a burrito and that it was somehow gay.
That makes him gay.
The way he was holding a burrito, and I mean, yeah, that's what they've resorted to down there.
That's all they can do.
Yeah, that's all they got. Well, the Ken Pax, we could do a whole episode.
Yeah,
on
Texas.
Ken Paxton.
We'll do a whole episode on Texas. Now, don't,
Yeah.
10 years in Texas, dude. I got my Shiner thing.
Yeah,
right
I was
here.
just gonna
I'm
say
saying,
you need to point the Shiner.
I have a lot of Texans I care about and love. So just be good to me. So we'll get there.
Circling that back to Zach Lahn.
Zachy boy. Okay.
Well, no. Because I just before we
Yeah,
go to that, the belonging theory. I think visible participation really matters, and I think that can break the illusion that nobody else is out there.
Yes.
And I think
Well played, Kellen.
the idea, the blue dot in a red sea, I think that matters, and I don't know it mattered right away. I think it's one of those things that takes a while to catch on, but now Democrats are fucking tired of this just gesture around, right? Just this. Whatever is going on out there.
I think locally, what you see every Sunday up here on the square is a prime example of that.
Every Sunday.
For over a year now.
Yeah.
Casey was telling us the number 60, more than 60 weeks they've been out there.
Is it that long?
I think they've been out there
that's
since
right.
he was inaugurated.
And pretty much when it's 30 below zero and snowing.
Doesn't
and
matter.
Raining and
Doesn't matter.
In Little Mount Pleasant, this is before the No Kings rallies.
Yes.
This is before all the stuff. They were out there protesting.
And to be fair, it's technically
Rallying.
a nonpartisan thing.
It is. They welcome everybody there. They've had Leland Graber and all those.
Well, he was counter rallying, but
they welcomed him in.
They did, because that's what we
welcomed him
do.
in.
We don't turn people away.
Right.
We say, come on in.
Right. We did this episode last week.
Yes,
right?
we
don't
did.
turn people-
We
Yes, we
are
did.
the one we went and rented the big tent this time.
That's right.
Yes, we
That's
did.
right. So I think, and we can shift to Lane after this, but
Okay.
I think the visible participation really matters, and the blue dot and a red sea matters, and people are sick and fucking tired of this bullshit, and that shows up in the 38% and the historic, several decades long historic record turnout that occurred in Iowa says the Democrats have had enough, and they're ready to show up, and they're ready to fight, and they're ready to go.
With one caveat, and I'm gonna shout out to Paul on our comment section right now. He writes, "It was really frustrating how many positions had no candidate on my ballot.
We need to compete everywhere, and we're still not there.
And there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's way too many seats going uncontested.
And to be fair, it's hard to run in a rural district because your name gets put out there, especially if you're part of the losers, which we are at the moment. It is very difficult. And I'm saying that from experience, but also I'm saying it as when I was a chair of our county party, getting anyone to run for anything was almost impossible.
Well,
because people don't want to put their name. It's hard.
And I think another local example of that, another one of our local races, House District 99, which is just to our east over here
Or
in
95?
Des Moines County. 99.
It's 99. I thought it was 95. Okay,
No, it's 99.
Taylor Collins district.
Oh, the very end of the list.
Well, it's like I mean, it's literally like Burlington and
Oh,
I think
yeah. So
Southern
not
County.
Taylor Collins, not Henry County.
But that
yeah,
that had
99.
historically been a blue district.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Working class.
heavily propped up by labor and everything
Yep.
else, and right
Yep.
about in line with that data point.
Yeah.
That's the one that Kirkman won. Was it a Kirkman?
Yeah,
Kirkman. I thought. Is that
but
right?
they had 3 Democratic candidates running for that.
3. Seriously.
Yeah.
Who is she?
No
so
shit.
she.
I didn't
Who
know
is
that.
she? She won. Sounds like.
You're goading me, aren't you?
Just curious.
That's an inside joke we'll deal
It
with
is,
later.
yeah, I think to your point, I do think we need to have candidates like that on our show to figure
Yeah.
out how they won, what they do to win,
Yeah.
and sort
But
of
that is a perfect example of a district that Dems need to
Yeah,
target.
Get
that
back.
needed to
Heavily.
be flipped.
Yeah.
back
Yes.
hardcore.
yeah,
And I think it was interesting. I mean, I know one of the other candidates that ran in that race, and he was a union leader
right.
for Case, New Holland, which just closed.
Which is the ironic part is that district was blue for so long because of unions.
Yep.
As was yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason that's flipped is most of those union jobs are gone now.
And
So-
yeah,
So you shouted out Paul.
yeah.
Paul followed up.
Oh yeah, I see that. Okay.
Yeah. 2 votes. That's all it took to get him elected. So, yeah, we need to coordinate next time, guys.
So just for our listeners who aren't following along, that being said, last year I was elected a township trustee because my daughter and one of my colleague students wrote me in. 2 votes. Damn it, Kellen, we could have
I
had
know.
Jacob
We
in.
could have had
as
Jacob
auditor.
as the damn auditor.
What were we thinking? All we had to do was coordinate.
I want to be the weed commissioner.
The what?
Did you not know that the counties have weed commissioners?
Seriously?
No, I did. Like
what kind of weed we talking? Well, it's not legal, so you're talking about like roadside weeds,
Noxious weeds, yeah.
noxious weeds. Okay.
Why do you want that job?
I don't think it's
Just to
elected. I
have the
think it's
title.
appointed. But
Appointed. Yeah.
How do you go about? Never mind. Anyway, that's a no. Just to put it on my resume, weed commissioner. I would do that. That would be brilliant. All right, so can we talk about land now?
Yeah. Lawn.
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 It's Lane, everybody. just
Lane
so you know.
Coke.
It's
Lane
it's
Coke.
actually just
Coke.
Coke.
It's
We
Coke.
just call it Coke.
Okay, who wants to start? I'll start. I'm not gonna let you go. I'm gonna go. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Who wants to start? Fuck you.
This
I'm
is-
going.
I'm going. Okay. This one's mind-numbingly stupid to me. I don't even know how to describe this, and I'm going to try my best. I'm so sorry if I'm all over the place on this one, but this guy comes out of nowhere and registers and gets enough signatures.
Yeah, like what, 2 months ago?
Yeah, right before he had on March 13th, whenever it was due, right, to be able to get your name on the ballot. He came out of nowhere. No one really knew who the guy was. He's from Kansas. I'm not sure he lives in Iowa. No one really. He says he lives in Iowa on a farm. There's no verification this actually is true. Like I think he owns a farm.
If you go, well, he does.
Right?
He owns farmland outside or in Belle Plaine.
He calls himself a farmer.
Yeah.
But his wife and children conveniently live in Kansas.
He doesn't farm shit.
No, he doesn't.
Owns farmland.
He rents it out.
Right.
Probably. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, most people do around here these days.
Right.
Right. He lives in Kansas, people. He's not from here
He flies back and forth on a private jet.
all the time. Right. So he's not even from here.
Weekly.
Okay, and it just gets more stupider from there.
I just want to reiterate that point. His wife and kids live in
in Kansas. So he clearly doesn't
Right.
live in Iowa.
Right.
Okay. Running for governor.
Right.
Okay. That's the first thing that should
second-
automatically make you raise your eyebrows.
Second thing is on his website. It says local. Oh shit! Now I need to pull it up. It says local ownership matters. Some shit like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he makes it a thing.
Is the sex toy company that he's invested in?
Well, I forgot about that
based in
one.
Iowa?
Yeah, we're not even there yet. We're not even there.
Right.
Don't. I buried the lead, evidently. I didn't even know I did that. Okay. Okay. What? Okay, hold on. It only gets worse. Okay. The guy works still? I don't know. For Coke.
No, he definitely still
Well, he-
works.
Coke Industries.
Well, he was an operative for AFP.
Well, hold on. I'm
America's
getting there. Give me time.
Coke,
I got
Coke
one at a time.
Industry HQ is Wichita, Kansas.
Fuck, I forgot
I'm
how deep this
pretty-
rabbit hole is.
I'm pretty sure he's married into the Koch family. I'm
No, not pretty sure. He definitely
He is.
Yeah,
Okay, I've
yeah.
heard that. I haven't verified it.
Well, he stole one of the grandson's wives.
That's what I thought. Yeah. But I can't verify it, but that's what everybody says. Regardless, I'm pretty sure he's like not even related to Koch Industries. He's familial, okay, with Koch Industries, okay? The biggest corruption entity in the United States of America. They are the company everyone points at when they say that is why money should not be allowed in politics. Every time. Look at the Koch brothers. Look at the Koch brothers. One of them is dead, but look at Koch Industries, right? Okay. Not only that, Kellen or Jacob, what was it? AFP?
Yeah, Americans for Prosperity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He worked as the chief head of Americans for Prosperity in Montana.
6 years.
Which
6
has
years.
some sort of a weird fetish with Iowa.
They do. It's really odd. But for anyone that knows Americans for Prosperity, their chief goal basically is to deregulate everything. They believe that freedom in companies is the ultimate freedom for
they
everyone.
want to privatize everything
Yeah.
from prisons to school to
Yeah, and deregulate everything. And this is where it gets me ramped up. All that is like just absurd. He ran. I was like, okay, that doesn't surprise me. Somebody like that's running for governor because it's just stupid, and he'll get 5% of the vote. Okay, but here's what he does. Okay, he looks out at the landscape and he sees Rob Sand's going to win this thing. He's like, what can I do to win against Rob Sand? You know what he fucking does?
Well, he made a timeline on his webpage that you can scroll through 6 generations of serving Iowa.
Right, even though he hasn't lived here for
Right, because he knows
Forever.
he's a goddamn carpetbagger. So,
right. But
so
hold on,
you-
let me get to my
Oh,
Sand
what
thing.
did he do? He designed a dildo, Mike.
Well, yes, that's true too. That's true too. But here's what he does. He creates a campaign strategy around 2 issues in Iowa. It's the same issue. 2 issues. And this is what he gets all his people to go door knocking about and write articles about. Cancer and corporate ag. Okay? And he talks about the quiet thing out loud. He says there are nitrates in the water. No one wants to admit it. It's coming from fucking pig shit, and it's getting in our water, and it's causing cancer. There is clear correlation
Yep.
on that data.
Yep.
There's likely causation, but you can never get the fucking research funded because no one ever wants to fund that in Iowa.
It's like a third rail.
Yeah. But it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Iowa has some of the highest rates of cancer. We also have the most hog shit in our water. Like those are that's not sharks bites in summer correlate with ice cream in summer. Like that's just one of those things.
More like murder rates in Chicago correlate with ice cream sales.
Right, because it happens in the summertime, right? Kind of thing, right?
Right.
That's not that. This is a pretty clear thing that no one wants to admit. He's using it as his tactic. He's going around Iowa. He's getting everyone to talk about it, saying big ag is evil. People are dying of cancer. Your grandma died of cancer.
Yeah.
Your mom died of cancer.
Yeah.
And think people like, yeah, my mom died of cancer. I'm just saying it right now. You're like in Iowa, my mom died of cancer. He brings that up. That gets me emotionally pissed and mad, or in most people's cases, emotional about their loved one. Like that's a clear manipulation of people's emotions. And then he goes after corporate ag, the one entity in Iowa that he has been 100% behind with Koch Industries and AFP. Like that's who benefits from
Koch Industries owns a fucking fertilizer plant.
just down the road. A fertilizer plant that was subsidized by the state of Iowa to be created to compete against Koch Industries because we couldn't compete, and then got bought out by Koch Industries a year ago, right? It's fucking Brawndo, people. It is insane.
It's what plants crave, Mike.
It's what plant.
got
You don't put
electrolytes.
the
It does.
abuser. You don't put the abuser in the fucking house with the victim. Throw him the keys and lock the door behind you as you go out. Like that's what they're doing. He is the bad guy.
Yeah, he is.
He is 100% the bad guy.
Yeah.
He's what everyone rails against. And because he's bringing up the 2 issues that can harm Rob Sand the most, because he's married to a corporate ag person and he's really reluctant to talk about corporate ag, he sees that as the only issue that Rob Sand is weak on, and he went right after the heart of it.
Yeah, but his great granddaddy was one of the Hawkeyes on horseback during the Civil War, Mike.
Exactly. Fucking Brawndo, dude. Brawndo.
Brawndo.
It's what plants crave. Has electrolytes. I think we should put a sign down there at the Weaver plant.
But here's I think my
Brawndo.
favorite thing about him winning is this dude's completely unvetted. Like, I mean, nobody really knows anything about him.
No, he's not even from the goddamn state.
So the next 6 months are going to be real interesting to find out what they dig up on this guy.
Right. And I'm sure there's plenty considering his background.
Well, I personally appreciated the attack ads. on Lane this primary cycle.
What were they? I didn't see him.
He apparently has ties to Pornhub.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
is that one too?
Yeah. So not only did he invent the dildo? A dildo?
He invested
A
in
dildo?
he invested in a company that it's not really. I don't think it's a dildo. I think he claims that the company shifted its focus. It was originally a product used to treat erectile dysfunction,
Oh,
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
and that it shifted from a medical focus to an adult toy focus.
Okay.
And that was
Mhm.
when he divested his interest from
Oh,
it.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sure he
That was-
did.
That was the
Sure.
line.
Yeah.
Or it was just because it was wildly successful and worth a shit ton of money,
And he
so
sold.
he sold all of his
Yeah.
assets. Yeah.
That's probably the more likely aspect of it.
Yeah. His investment.
I mean, the guy's a philanderer, so
Yeah.
let's not clutch our pearls about
Never
his
stop
moral
Republicans
fortitude.
from voting before.
no, that's true. If you guys remember that movie from the 90s, Fight Club?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Where it's like this start-ish of the movie where he's having all the trouble, the Edward Norton character.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I am Jack's complete lack of surprise.
but at the start, he's like dealing with baggage because he just met his alter ego on the plane, right?
Right.
And he's at the baggage claim, and his bag was vibrating.
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
That's right.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Modern
And-
bombs don't tick,
Right.
but when they vibrate, they get worried.
He's like, what's the problem? Was the bag ticking? And the baggage handler guy's like, no, modern bombs don't tick. We don't worry about ticking. We worry about vibrating.
About 9 times out of 10, it's
About 9 times out of 10, the guy's like,
it's a dildo.
it's a dildo. It's corporate policy not to reference your dildo,
a dildo.
a dildo, or the
The non-possessive,
dildo, the
a
non-possessive.
Zach Lahn land is a dildo. And if you don't see that, you are a fucking moron. There's no other way to put it.
Well,
You have to be so incredibly stupid to look at him as a candidate. And I'm sorry to the people, 37% of the Republican voters that voted him. What the fuck
Well,
is
it's not-
wrong with you?
It's not his Pornhub investments. It's a Pornhub.
That's right. My bad.
investment.
He is
Yes.
a candidate
Yes.
for governor.
Yes.
Well, I think the interesting thing about him too is the quote unquote grassroots conservatives.
Right.
I won't mention the media group's name. Okay.
Oh
the
shit,
Iowa
guys.
Standard.
Sorry.
They were
I got to cut you off because Jessica has a comment.
Oh, hold on. Okay,
Jessica
we're
has a
hold that
comment.
thought
Hold that
about the
thought.
Iowa something.
Because Jessica has a comment of the night. She says, "Just refer to Lane as the cock ring salesman, and we'll all know who you're talking about."
That's beautiful. By the way, she had one of those Nebraska starter jackets.
She did. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, that
so she
one.
was a bandwagoner
Yeah, she was. She was
Yeah,
a bandwagon.
You were. Sorry, Jessica.
Sorry.
back when they were actually like worth a shit.
Hey, Jessica. He's drinking apple beer.
He is. Look
I
at that.
just want to make sure you notice it. I mean, granted, so am I. I have my ciders, but you know,
Ciders.
it's for a different reason. Anyway,
You
what were
were
you going to say
Jacob?
about Iowa Standard?
Yeah.
Sorry, I said it out loud. My bad. The Iowa Standard.
So
yes.
I mean the Iowa Standard was a conservative voice that really pushed Lane.
Oh, yeah.
they
Right
really
at the
stood
end.
behind him there at the end. And I think that I think what's really telling about that is the fact that Beanstra was trying to do what the Democrats are doing. They're trying to appeal to moderates.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to have that. And I think that they've put a sacrificial lamb out to slaughter with this.
With Lane?
Yeah.
I don't know. This ag cancer thing, honestly. Like that
I don't
that's
know, though.
he's gonna draw. Here's the thing. Chris Jones, who won the Democrat nomination last night for ag, for Secretary of Ag, right? Chris Jones, Democrat, okay, posts about Zach Lahn today, saying if you don't think water quality and ag matter, you're lying to yourself. These issues people care about, and he pointed at that Lane had a strangely high number of votes in Des Moines in Polk County compared to other years.
He's
Because-
not wrong on that.
Yeah.
I saw the maps on that, and I was really surprised at the Republican votes out of Des Moines.
Yeah. And there were for Lane because he's saying the quiet thing out loud finally that corporate ag is killing us. That's a hell of a freaking position to be starting at that nobody takes in Iowa unless you're on the far left.
And the water quality issue is huge in Des Moines because they actually have a water system that has a nitrate like management system in it.
Yeah. But he's going after Democrat votes because there's a whole group of Democrats that are out there that are Democrats because of the environment. They are Democrats because they are anti-CAFO, they're anti-corporate ag, they are about taking care and doing sustainable crop rotations, sustainable plantings during the winter season, all that kind of stuff. What do you call it? Cover crops, things like that. They're that contingency. They're Democrats because of the environment. And he thinks he can take them. He's going to try to steal them. And in a race that's going to be super, super tight, just by default, because people vote for R next to your name or people vote for D next to your name. If you take even a percent of environmentalists away from Sand, who isn't necessarily endearing himself to Democrats right now, he's sort of like, I have to be Democrat because I have to. I don't want to be Republican. Like, that's actually the only way I think a Republican wins this race, and he's taking it straight up. So my question for you, Jake, is what the hell does Sand do to counter it? Does he go all in against corporate ag as well and move the narrative and actually have the conversation with Chris Jones instead of Chris Jones suddenly promoting freaking Zach Lahn?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I think politicians will do what politicians do. They're gonna watch. They're gonna have their thumb up, looking to see where the wind goes to determine what direction they're gonna take with that.
Right.
I mean, yeah, he's sitting the fence right now because that's what's politically convenient for him.
Well, he's sitting the fence because his wife is part of, I believe.
Well,
like family owns one of the largest.
In general, I mean, he's not owning the Democratic
True
title at all, and that's one of his criticisms from Democrats, especially uber liberals, is that he's not liberal enough.
So with the cock ring salesman, is sitting the fence a sexual innuendo?
No, we were talking about.
Yeah, Kellen went and used the
I had to
restroom
go
real quick.
potty.
He can come. We're talking about that will Zach Lahn, I said his name right, be able to take Democrat votes who are just Democrats because they're environmentalists?
No.
But he's the only one saying anti-corporate ag and nitrates in water is a bad thing.
I have to agree with Kellen. I think that ultimately, I think even those environmentalists, if they'll just not vote.
Yeah.
They'll do
that. That's enough.
That's how we get Bernie bread.
That's how you get Bernie.
That's enough right there. If Sands doesn't come out and take that stance, I get that look every put the S on the Sands from Kelly, looks up and says, Sand, you fucker.
Yeah. Sand dollar, Mike.
Sand
dollar.
Sand, there you go. Thank you. If Sand doesn't take a stance on this soon, because I can see him waiting until after the primaries. Now, I think it could fuck him.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to have to. I mean, and I think that I realize the family he comes from. But I think at a point, I think he can do that with little political risk if he frames it in the context of this isn't your small family farms that are destroying the environment. It's the big corporate giants that are doing this,
which is his family,
right?
I mean that's the problem, right?
But at the same time, like. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest about it. Is his father-in-law gonna give a shit that he goes out and says that in an effort to get elected governor?
Which is exactly the point I'm saying about Lahn.
Yeah.
Because at 8:01 p.m. on November 3rd, 2026, he ain't gonna give a shit about cancer.
Is
and
it
give a shit about
November 3rd? Did you just pull that out of your
Yeah, like that. No, it's November 3rd, 8:01
you're
p.m.
right.
Damn right. I looked this up earlier. At 8:01 on December 3rd, 2026, Zach Lahn ain't going to give a shit about cancer rates or corporate ag.
No.
He has a 20-year history of working in the exact opposite direction of that issue.
Well, I think the other thing too is like I said, I think it's going to be interesting what sort of opposition research comes out.
True.
There could be a huge October surprise. There could be some giant scandal that comes out that is very difficult to overcome and come back from.
But we know they don't care anymore. Republicans don't care.
That's true.
That's what he's banking on. Like all he cares about is Democrat votes.
We lived through the grab him by the pussy video.
We had every scandal you could have.
Okay, fair. But I think the other thing too is that I think if I was in Rob Sand's shoes, I would be looking at it going, if you hated Kim Reynolds, if you thought that Kim Reynolds was authoritarian and too far right, this guy's even worse.
Yeah,
True.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By
you're right.
far.
So that would be my message to environmentalists that are like, oh, I might vote for Lane because he doesn't give a fuck about that. And all the other things that you give a shit about, that guy is going to trample on all of them.
Well, and that's where I have a message for fucking Chris Jones. Like,
Who's Chris Jones?
he won the ag secretary. of Ag
Oh, okay. He
nomination.
was one of the
Democrat.
unopposed.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So, Chris, with all due respect, instead of posting about a Republican governor candidate who you know does not believe what he's saying, clearly does not believe, he's lying openly and is not going to go against corporate ag, and he's not going to give a shit about nitrates in water. You know that.
Yeah.
This is not hard to figure out. This
Right.
is idiocracy, Brawndo shit. Like, it is so fucking clear that this guy does not give a shit about this stuff, and he's saying it only because he's carpetbagging and wants to win an election. Don't fucking post about him. Go
Right.
call up Rob Sand and say, I need you on this issue. You need to say something. Let's coordinate the message and let's set the narrative. Don't go fucking post about a guy who you know is lying. It's going to hurt you.
Right.
He's going to go and he's going to get votes on your side, and he's going to go turn on you immediately because that's who he is. And I'm not saying that flippantly. It's just he has a history of 20 years of working literally against this shit.
That was a solid GRE word there, Mike.
You like that?
I did.
What was the GRE word did I say?
Flippantly.
Oh, flippantly. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Say ACT word here in Iowa.
GRE. Do they still do the ACT? Is that
Yeah,
thing?
there's a whole company up in Iowa City. It's one of the largest employers in
Really?
Johnson County. Yeah,
Okay.
outside of obviously the University of Iowa.
Yeah.
They're a little bigger.
And then the
They're- yeah.
UHC. Yeah.
They're the largest, one of the largest in the state. But yeah, Anyway, it's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they're falling for it, and now Democrats are falling for it, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, they put a fucking brain in your head. I don't know how to say it. That's so stupid.
I think and we got to end here. I think the takeaway here today, and we went on this little tangent about Lane, but I think it ties in perfectly to where we started with my beautiful table that I'm going to put up one more time so people can
Because
see.
you have to, got to put it.
Even though it's completely irrelevant right now. I think the point that we're trying to make here is really that last night showed us that rural America isn't asleep at the wheel, right?
Yeah.
And we even Iowa didn't buy into Trump's whatever gesturing or gesticulating. That's a word, right? Something like that.
Not an ACT word.
Not an ACT word. But we're not asleep at the wheel. And ultimately, I think the takeaway from last night and what Democrats in particular need to take away moving forward is that rural Iowa in particular, rural America, isn't asleep. It's just under-organized. We need some sort of direction. We need some sort of kind of coherent pathway forward. It's under-measured. I don't think a lot of people are paying attention. And I think politically that translates into a lot of these consultant class people misreading what's going on. And if you would have talked to anybody yesterday, the day before, I don't think they would have told you that Lane would be the Republican nominee.
No.
I don't know. I didn't think.
No, I didn't either.
I really didn't think he would pull it off.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
And I had doubts about what was going to happen in the Iowa Senate primary on the Democrat side. I didn't know what would happen, obviously, in the gubernatorial race. But I think we're starting to see that over and over again, where rural America is having questions about what the Trump agenda and what that means for their lives. And yeah, Lane's a terrible candidate, but he was not the Trump candidate. And I think that's super important. The fracture that we saw last night, I think there are two takeaways from Iowa. One is Democrats are obviously fired up, right? We've seen this over and over and over again in all these special elections that have been happening. But last night was the first time a state GOP party broke with the Trump nominee, the Trump endorsed nominee. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys correct me if
Since
I'm wrong.
2016.
Since just in this cycle, right?
Yeah.
Since Trump has re-entered the White House, I can't think of another Trump endorsed candidate that lost their primary.
No, in fact, you look at those big races like Cornyn and Massey.
Right.
Those were those.
I went the other way. Yeah.
I think that kind of told us that, hey, Trump hasn't lost his hold on the party.
Right.
But I think so. I think coming back around to what I said earlier about it's the economy, and sort of tying together what we've been debating and discussing here is, we posted something on our. We had a couple of posts this morning on our Facebook page about some of the experts saying that we'll probably have gas rationing.
Yesterday.
And
was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah.
Kellen posted it. We the royal we.
Kellen posts most everything, just so
I do.
Before you start throwing all negative shade at us,
But
always think of yourself as arguing with Kellen.
Yeah,
But-
you're arguing with me.
But anyway, my point is that if we have $6 gas and
Yeah.
rationing and lines at the gas station in July,
Yeah.
that's going to have an impact on this race.
Ted Cruz doesn't think there'll be an impact.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course that will, right? Like, of course, gas rations, shortages, $6 gallon gas is going to have an impact on the midterms. And that's not just me posting bullshit. I saw this for the first time a month ago. A gas executive from a major U.S. oil company said we are going to be facing shortages in a month or two if we don't get our shit together and figure this Strait of Hormuz thing out. And then another one said it. And then yesterday, another one said it. And now all of a sudden, they're starting to post graphics from analysts, from energy analysts. If you go to like I wasn't following this guy previously, but some of our Facebook followers suggested that we look at this guy's page, Mr. Global.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big presence online. He's an energy expert, and he has a podcast called American Power. So shout out to Mr. Global. You go look at his stuff. He's saying this exact thing, that by the end of June, start of July, we're going to be in some deep shit.
Yeah, and I've followed Mr. Global on TikTok for a long time, and he's predicted other things and has been right.
Right.
So yeah.
And he's basically saying if nothing changes, status quo continues, and we keep in this stagnant quagmire of we're not really sure if the strait's open, they're fucking blowing up oil company tankers and all this shit in the strait right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they're launching missiles. The war is not over as much as Marco Rubio wants it to be, and this keeps going until the end of June. Yeah, we're looking at gas lines. We're looking at rations. We're looking at shortages. We're looking at $6, $7, $8 gas.
And I think that is where people will break from Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's easy for these clowns to say, "Oh, I'm okay with paying the extra money," because it's not. I mean, it's more expensive, but it's not killing them.
Well,
right?
my in-laws told me at $10 a gallon diesel, it's cheaper to just pay somebody to go out and pick the crops by hand because they can't run that.
You're talking about tractors. And,
Yeah, a
Right.
combine takes 200 gallons of diesel a day to run during harvest season.
But here's the thing: Americans hate inconvenience.
yeah,
So if we reach a point where you can only get gas on certain days, and you have to wait in line to get it, that's going to be a breaking point for a lot of people.
yeah, yep. Because you're not going to think about anything else while you're sitting in line for that gas. You're not thinking about anything else other than why the fuck am I sitting here in a
Well,
fucking
and not
gas
only
line?
that, but now you're no longer aside from that inconvenience, you have the inconvenience of I'm not going to run and get groceries this week,
Right.
Or I'm not going to take that trip, or I'm not going to do this. Or I'm not going to go to my kid's softball game.
Right.
Like you're going to start making those decisions.
And you're going to be pissed off about them. And you're going to wonder who to blame.
Right.
So,
just remember, there's people making money off this. It's not us.
it's definitely not us.
I think that's a wrap, guys. Just real quick shout out again to all of our people online. The one thing I like from Jessica, she says that when has any consultant group ever got it right about us Dirt Road Hillbillies?
That is absolutely true, Jessica.
I think that's the truth.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching us tonight, listening to us online on wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you to Chris Hausman for our closeout song, and we will see you next week.